Just started.
All right. Well, welcome back. Bermuda has gone down 6-1 to Honduras, 1-1 at the half. Coach, sum up the first 45 minutes for me. Obviously, we go into the half, scoring just at the half. Penalty from Zico Lewis after the goal was fouled. But give us your take on that first 45 minutes.
Again, Honduras came out fast and hard. Kudos to Dale Lee because had he not forced to break the roads, it could have been that from the beginning. They played technically. They played better football now. They moved the ball better, quicker, smarter. Not too many high over the tops. They played out of our press well. They got in behind our defense quite often. And as I said, if not for Dale Eve's heroics in the first 10 to 15 minutes, that scored the score could have been a lot worse. And those are the things that we actually saw happen. Those are the things that we actually saw happen in the second half. Again, they were able to play in between our lines quite comfortably, quite easily. And I think that they probably would have been a bit more disappointed in themselves on the first half than in the second half. And once they went in at the half, spoke about those things that they need to do.
And why don't you give us your take on that second half?
Just concentration and shuttle. First, after the first 5 minutes, we were 3-1 down. Coming up the second half, they were just disorganized. And I keep saying to you that, at this level, you can't get the shuttle for 1 minute, especially playing against this type of opposition. And, it just showed. And to get back to what Keith was saying, first 10 minutes, we could have been almost 4-1 down. I think that is what we're talking about, playing at this level against these type of teams. How hard it is, how difficult, what it must be, the concentration, the organization, and just being, at times, I said earlier in the pregame show, that at certain times when the score was 1-0, we set up a certain block, we dropped the ball, and there were times they weren't figuring us out. And then all of a sudden we started opening up and we didn't keep possession with that well at all. And our fourth and fifth pass was just given away. At this level, we can't have it just won't have to go.
One of the things that we noticed, they were, especially in the first half, very physical. We were trying to match that physicality, but eventually that was going to break down. And then they came up that second half and scored those 2 quick goals that kind of set Bermuda back. But looking forward, we take stuff from defeats and we look forward to how we can improve on them. I want to talk to the coach about it because that's going to be vital. That what did we learn from a night like tonight? What did we learn from Wednesday night? And how do we rectify? How do we improve on it?
Yeah.
For me, again, we spoke about this interview. We spoke about expectations. We spoke about what it would look like. What's the real expectations? Didn't play bad,
Right.
But again, as you said, concentration, absolute concentration, and then just basic stuff. That last goal, you understand right there. And it's one guy.
Right. Yeah.
One Honduras player that scored at least scored. that by yours. No one stepped in, no one took responsibility for that. No one said, I'm gonna be God that's upset. You know, in the other bill, I mean, it's taxable. The city bill, might have been the fourth bill. And I said, well, look at little man. Before he even shot.
Right.
You understand? Another bill, basic football, how we play. And go on the side, and go across, tap in. They pay football. They don't look at you guys at football, they'll be talking. If that might have been enough for you, but at the end of the day, you know, for me, that was probably the the, we kind of, we kind of gave up on it.
Right.
And I'm sure that that was not what their intention was to give up. But again, Honduras just played some really good tactical quality, composed, composed football and defensive triangulation. They played in triangles so much, and that is the standard shape of football, right? No matter what, like they have two guys on them, three guys on them, they look to play the right pass. Sometimes for us, why are we building the ball? You got the ball in front of these boys, they're playing fast. He's facing up the field. Your back is that way. You're trying to turn and go that way. They've got two people on you. So why not play to your one player third? You then can play the ball forward. Again, that triangulation play that So, like I said, part of the process. You know, I'm sure they'll go back to the drawing board. Next one. Next game is Nations League in September, so another 3 months away, 4 months away.
You know, the other thing is that watching this team like Honduras play, and you know, say about the quality, technical quality of those players in Latin America, and you notice it. You like I said, first 15 minutes you get a feeling for the fact that these guys, once they step up here, it's going to be a problem for us. They were quicker, the decision making, the movement was much better. The quality of how they get out of difficult situations was easy. I mean, sometimes I was counting like 10 passes that we couldn't get the ball back. And once we did get the ball back, we gave it away after the fourth, fifth pass.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lesson. It's a real lesson in terms of what the gap is like, what the gap is like. And you have to think about the fact that again, what I said at the beginning of this is that the pregame, a lot of these players are playing overseas, and you're looking at look at again what you saw tonight.
Yeah.
And I keep asking that question: the coaching staff, the non-coaching staff, what they're trying to achieve, and what they have to work with. And the pace of the game after a while, when Honduras started, you know, put the pace of the game, they picked it up, they slowed it down, and Bermuda was like second fiddle with it a lot of times.
Yeah, it looked like, especially the first half, they were trying to conserve themselves. They felt they were in control, to go forward when they wanted to, and keep possession of the ball when they wanted to. Bermuda did create a few chances, and did get a goal. But then you saw the seventh ranked team become the seventh ranked team in the region, and they showed why. The pace was a lot faster in that second half, and they got more direct in what they wanted to do. Control that tempo, and it just wore Bermuda down. And then once the ball starts getting into the net, it deflates you even more and more and more. And you know, you work hard to try to stay up, but as you can see more goals, mentally you start to fall apart. Coach, how does at the national level, how do we sort of pick these players up now?
Yeah, well, as I said, the next week for them is the nations, and you gotta have a good fish memory in this sport. We go away, the coaches will go away, they'll look at the footage, and hopefully they'll figure out the way that they can fix the gaps. But then it's before we get to that point. Right? Remember the things we talked about pre-game, camaraderie, team dynamics, cohesion. You know, it's almost like at times they didn't know who to play, what to play, what role to play. You know, and for me, at this level, that's was unacceptable. You have to know, and on the 15 level, like I said, your player, that's the player right there that should get the ball. Remember, we talked about selling the brand and selling the team, selling your brand or selling the team brand. And again, we saw that tonight, the individuals trying to sell their brand. You were trying to, at one point, they did some sort of flick or trick, and then right behind it, one always tried to do. That's not us.
Right.
Let them do that. Let them do, and they're in, that's the zone that they're in right now. That's the moment that they're in right now. So let them do that. We keep the game simple.
Right.
We keep it simple, and we keep going. We keep working on it. We keep playing. Again, times I just felt, we held on to the ball. They let us hold on to it, and then when it was ready, step in and take it.
Yeah.
So those are the pieces. But again, this is a hard goal, 6-1, regardless of the process with everything. It's not a good feeling for the players or the coaches, or the country as a whole. And again, we know what's gonna happen. You're sitting in the stands and you're hearing people say stuff.
Yes.
This and but at the end of the day, what do we do? We still have to get behind the scene. Disappointed. Tickets are 50% off, and VIP wasn't full. As a national coach, I've had to bought a bunch of VIP tickets, for my friends and family. So we still need to fill the stands. Our players still need to feel the country's behind them, and that's important.
Definitely. I may come in still.
I think there's gonna be a lot of debate. There's gonna be a lot of finger pointing. There's gonna be a lot of statistics that are taken about not just this course, but how we're losing. Where do we go from here? Again, that's what we're against, and I'm saying that tonight what we're lacking. There's parts of that game that showed up tremendously. Fitness level and technical quality level and organization. Especially what I saw most impressive about that team is that when they have the ball, when they play without the ball or when they play with the ball, what was most impressive, when you give them room to play, those passes that are supposed to be made are made. Those, 1-2s, how they get themselves out of trouble, how they weren't direct, how often they play on the back, and when they can't, and how they move the ball and the spaces they play into. The movement was just unbelievable.
No, seriously, it's really good to watch.
It's good to watch.
Like that triangle play.
I was gonna say that the people that were in the stands tonight got to watch quality football in our region.
Yes.
Firsthand. Something we can strive towards, but it's gonna take more than 5 years or something like that to happen. But if we work towards that and just watching it and learning from it, I think that's the positive. One thing I do take from them is they only turn back when they had to turn back. We seem to look to turn back. Yes. And now we're putting ourselves under pressure because we've got the goalkeeper, we've got the ball, we've got two attackers running at him. Now he's in a defensive position right away kind of thing when we had the player was facing off the field, bounce it off of the midfielder, get it back, try to throw him out.
And that's a good point you made, Carl. That's a good point. Now, how do we get out of those difficult situations when we're pressing? How do we come out of it? Most of the time, we don't.
Right.
And I just saw more and more the movement of the center midfielder. The movement of the midfield was very poor because when we were in possession, when we tried to play out of the back. Opposite to that is what Honduas did.
Right.
They knew how to press. They still were able to get out of those presses.
Right.
When you dropped off, they still knew what to do,
Yeah.
even though you dropped off, and allowed them to play.
Yeah.
And we don't seem to right now. We don't seem to have that concept.
Right.
Again, because we're selling our brand and not the team brand.
Yeah.
Because you can't tell me that the quality of players that we have on the field can't play out of this situation.
Right.
But they don't, because what you said is that the thought process is not that first.
Yeah.
Right.
My first thought is not to play the ball to my teammate.
It's for me to get out of it.
It's for me to get out of this.
Yeah.
I look good getting out of
Yeah.
that situation.
Yeah.
It was so evident and so obvious that every single time, we were in those situations, that is what that is what we did. We didn't look to say, look, bounce, bounce, bounce.
Right,
It was
okay.
always, let me hold the ball, I'm gonna get out of this jam.
Mm,
Yeah, that's what players.
right.
The movement, I just think again about playing at this level. That movement on this press has got to be better. And then when you do get the ball in this, and I was really, when they ball in this Carter we talking about, he tried, he's trying to play it up. I think it showed up tonight that he looking to do that. And but the rest of it, when you were passing between those lines, who's receiving that ball? And
Yeah.
most of the time the ball's given away. I was glad they tried the young man, the young man that came on 16, he got his debut tonight.
Yeah.
Very young. But again, you put him in on the deep end, aren't you?
Yeah. But you want to bring him in at home, so he feels welcome at home, kind of thing. The reception he got when he came on was one that he will remember for a very long time. You would hate to do that to him in Honduras,
Yeah.
But I mean, now he's got his feet back. He knows what that pace is like. He would understand what he would have to do, as well as the team, because we have to stress team, and I'm pretty sure that is what the coach is inside talking to those players about right now. If we're not going to play as a team, why are we playing?
And the other thing that was noticeable also for team setting in with it would be the team.
Mm-hmm.
I chase, once you're running and you're chasing, you're chasing that ball, the ball's being moved all around you, you don't, and then when you get possession of it, damn, what do?
Yeah.
And you're too tired after that to make some decision.
Right. Right.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, how are you?
How are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
How are you?
Yeah,
Good.
I'm
Good.
good.
How you guys doing?
Good to see you.
Okay. All right. Yes.
Sit there.
Yeah.
Facing this way, John.
Yeah. This your camera right there.
We're not.
Yeah. Just stay free.
Yeah, turn this on.
We're joined by the coach. Let's get something.
I'm looking over, man.
You didn't do exactly what we kicked out. I'm glad I said it right here. So, yeah, of course it is. Well, Coach, first of all, welcome. A bit disappointed with the result tonight, obviously. What do you say to the boys following a match like this?
Well, we just came from a fresh discussion there, and our whole mandate and our whole strategy at this moment in time is building towards something, and this is part of the process. And for me, first and foremost, when you're dealing with a game like tonight, when you're playing, the 7th ranked team in CONCACAF, Nations League finalists, you need to first establish your character and your ability to fight and compete, and then stay to our principles. And that's what I said. We were not ashamed at all tonight with anybody. I was quite proud of the effort that every one of these players made in some very difficult situations when you're dealing with the team that you're playing against. And we displayed at times that resilience and that ability to also play and play football at a level with a team such as Honduras. But you also have to take away the fact that there was situations and deficiencies that we'll have to address. But there's also realities we have to work on.
Yeah. Would you say preparation for these last two games was enough for you, satisfied you enough to get the guys ready for two matches?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is it's, international football is set by FIFA's calendar. So it's not like you can just unilaterally bring players in when they have commitments elsewhere. We were also transitioning between the March date and this date. We were very happy with our preparation. I thought the players were in very good shape, both mentally and physically. Certainly not at the level of the team you saw when we played tonight, where you have players playing full-time football right now. 3 of those players played in cup finals in Europe in the last 3 or 4 weeks, at the end of the season. So for me, I thought the preparation was good. We came in a little bit early because we could. And then we stayed here until we went to Antigua or Bermuda and wanted to have a small footprint there, which we did. So I was quite happy with the preparation, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Luke, tonight, I found, quite often they kind of got in behind our back line. What was the kind of conversations, or what were you guys doing to try to combat that, to stop that from happening? Because they weren't over the top, meaning they were literally playing through the line. So how were you guys communicating, or what was it that you feel he could have done better to stop that?
I think maybe dropping a little bit quicker, but ultimately I think the first half is 1-1, and I think the second half you can see maybe fitness levels from players who are just in season now or just come out of like top flight season. But I think it was the same as Guinea, where we were in the game the first half, and then the second half you can maybe see that things definitely opened up a lot more. And yeah, that's unfortunate for us, and it's something that we all have to take accountability for and try and, over time get fitter, get sharper, and try and get ourselves all into full-time environments where that's just normal for us. But obviously, at the moment, that's not a reality, and we have to kind of deal with playing top teams like that. So yeah, I don't think it was necessarily as bad as the result seems, but I think you can see that there is a difference in the levels. So.
Yeah, this is a question to you, Coach. How are you? The beginning of the first game, what I always see, like tonight's game, the first 5 minutes, the lack of starting with the concentration, because at times we were time after 7 minutes, Honduras only had 3 clear-cut chances, and then start again in the second half. The first 4 minutes we were down 3-1. Did you find that it's that a big part of it's something that we have to adjust better?
Yeah, I think, we actually talked about it at halftime too, is that we knew they were going to turn the heat up in the first 5-10 minutes in the second half, because I'm sure that, from their perspective, they probably were not pleased with their performance. That team expects to beat us, and the demands on them are to beat us. And so we tried to prepare for that, turning up the heat. We had issues with the second and third runners that were coming in through the channels, and that ball being knocked over was referenced, and so we were having trouble with that transition and that running style in attack. But again, it comes with a little experience, I think, and what we're seeing as we slowly grow is we're finding ourselves becoming more comfortable in understanding what our capabilities are, which I think are very high from a footballing point of view. And we have to mesh that footballing IQ along with the understanding of what it takes to deny opposition opportunities like that they were presented tonight, which they were clinical, absolutely clinical in terms of.
The other question I want to ask you, Coach, is that most of the time in when you're playing our identity of this football in this country, do you believe that this right now, do we really have an identity of the way this national team is playing? Do you think we do?
Yeah, I think our game model is solid. I think we're working at it. You can see when you watch us play what we're trying to achieve and what we're trying to do. And I think previous matches and responses in our reviews show that. I mean, we have good technical players, and we have a certain type of player. We lack certain other players to complement that, which will be part of the idea and recruitment strategy. I mean, it's quite obvious, as you saw in the Antigua-Barbuda game, we created a number of chances and we didn't execute and we didn't complete the task. But in terms of your idea of what we are, I think the players are very comfortable with what we're asking. And I think they've taken it on board, and you can see how the team shapes, and you can see what we're trying to do in the build-up. And tonight you saw a change a little bit in our defensive posture, because we knew we couldn't be putting ourselves into a high press situation such as maybe we would against other teams to combat it. So yeah, I think the flexibility, and I think we are a team that likes the ball, and we are a team that creates chances. I think we're a team that has excellent wide players, like I call them peripheral players and external players, because we have good pace and good speed. So that's why we built the game model around those types of players.
I commend you, Coach, on the use of the young players. I've watched many of our national teams, and I can honestly say for like the first time, regardless of where we are in this process, understanding that the implementation of the younger players for the sustainability and what it is that you're trying to do, I think it's very commendable. And it's, it's a joy, it's painful. It is what it is, but I totally enjoy seeing the implementation of this young team.
Well, I think that something that all Bermudians can be proud about and these players can be proud is there is talent and there's ability. And one of my most important jobs, along with the rest of the staff, is to transition that type of player into the game and into the program when we still have veteran players in place to help them through that. Because what happens in CONCACAF is you ramp up for a competition and then it stops and you have to go all the way back to the starting line and you ramp it up again. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to bridge through the cycles and bridge through these competitions. We have an incredibly important group of games coming up that will qualify us for the World Cup, which I consider to be Bermuda's World Cup. And so we're taking away what we've done, since my arrival, and see that this evolution of the youth being introduced, identifying areas of the team that I think are really impressive and can help us. And we look forward to the games that are coming up in September, October, and November with that youth. There was a 17-year-old boy who came on tonight for his debut. Sakil scoring in Antigua Barbuda. Those are things you celebrate because they're going to give us a sustainable, great word, future for the program.
Look, as players, how do you recover from such a defeat?
You just kind of give yourself some time, watch the game back, watch what you could do better, and ultimately you just have to learn from it because, we just have to take these sort of lessons into, like you said, the Nations League, and just try and implement anything that sort of didn't go as well.
Are there any positives we can take away from such a one-sided match?
Absolutely, but we looked at the introduction of youth. We look at the fact that we applied ourselves and we competed and we fought against a very good team. And I think everybody has to take a moment to really go do your research about who we just played, okay, and who we are at this moment in time. It doesn't mean we don't aspire to compete in there because our goal is to be playing and competing in the top half of CONCACAF. But this is a reality you have to deal with, and we as a staff were very happy with the fight and the character. And when we got to halftime, we felt very strongly that we were in the game, and it was kind of a mirror image of the Guinea game. We played another team, a very well coached, experienced team in the African nations. Unfortunately, had a player sent off, but we got to halftime kind of very similar. And then we seemed to lose some of our momentum, and we lose a little bit of our energy. And as Luke, refers to, some of our players have to get into much better environments, so they're playing on a more full-time basis, which is their goal. And right now, with the level we're playing at, we're in that sort of shoulder season. And so in the next couple of weeks, months, hopefully they're in that scenario. So when they do represent Bermuda, they're right at the top of their physical capabilities, and they're more conducive to what a game action is. But that doesn't take away from the sacrifice they made in two very difficult games, and I think the character showed through. I was happy with that part of it.
So in terms of your assessment of this match, would you say this went according to plan?
I don't think any game that goes according to plan, in the sense that you go to win football matches. I don't care who it is. We talked about, we used this sort of David and Goliath type discussion before the game, and there are historical scenarios of where you go out and you beat teams that are far better than you in the rankings and those types of things. So I don't think it went par for the course. I wouldn't say that. What I said is it did show us the difference between the levels of players and the environments that these players are playing in, right? And that's just a reality. That doesn't mean we can't compete, which I think we saw for 45 minutes. And we actually saw it for 90 minutes from a mental point of view, but you could see that the competition became much more difficult when we got stretched.
Okay, and so morale-wise, where are we?
Morale is obviously straight after the defeat is low, but I think we're all we have a positive group and we have a tight-knit group and we all have a lot of belief. So I think we'll bounce back from it and we'll just be ready to go again come September. I think, yeah, the group is really good, and from a player point of view, I think just the whole program itself feels like it's on the up. So like we're all quite positive about how things are going. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective and talking to the staff, we made it very clear in the very beginning that we need to be optimistic about our football. We don't want pessimists. We want to build from the things that happen, both positively and negatively. And we have to take those every time and use them to our advantage. And if you're talking about World Cup qualifying, you look at this group. This group was never going to be sorted out in the first two games. Next June is going to be what it's all about. You know, there goes Cayman Islands and beats Antigua and Bermuda the other night, you know, and then now you've got Cuba on 0 points and with Cayman coming to them on Tuesday. So this group is not going to be settled until June 10th, 2025. And so I would expect there'll be a couple of other results just like this with Honduras with other teams.
Yeah.
So we have to look at where we need to be, and we need to be in second place at the end of June. And that gets us into round 3. So that's what we have to focus on. We take the lessons, we take the positives and negatives, and we go away and we work with the players individually and remotely, and we get ready for September, because that's a whole other ballgame.
Do you feel having these 2 games now and then having the Nations League, I think, do you feel that's going to put us in an even better position come June 2025?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm really excited about September, October, November, because you know we all want this team to go back to the Gold Cup. I want to go back to the Gold Cup. I've been there 3 times. I want to go for it. So at that point of view, I think it's really important that we compartmentalize our work. We know who we have to play September, October, November. We know what results we need, and we have players in this group that are extremely capable of delivering on that. I have no doubt about that.
Coach, can I ask you a question? The expectations of this team, because I've had this conversation, you know, I speak to so many people in public, and they talk about they want to 85% of the players play overseas, right, in leagues in Europe or in England. And I think the expectations, what I've come across, that expectations are higher in terms of the players. Do you think that's a good question? Should we be expecting better results with mostly players now that are playing overseas?
Well, I think what you can expect is you can expect a player that is in a more regular, competitive, and professional atmosphere. That's the critical piece. The game in CONCACAF today, when you look at the smaller MAs, and we have to consider ourselves one of the smaller MAs, we sort of sit in the middle of the sandwich, is that we need to be in the export business. And that is getting players into the best possible scenarios, the best possible environments, so they're getting the most competition possible. That translates well to international football. That doesn't mean our domestic players can't contribute, because you can see we have domestic players within this group, and they are contributing. And so we continue our relationship on island to make sure that we're looking at these players. You look at the young boy that came on tonight; he's a domestic-based player, you know, so in that regard. So we will continue our ID process, our evaluations, but I can understand why people would expect more, and I don't really have a problem with that. I expect more from everybody. If they're buying into what we're trying to do, which I think they are, and I think Luke makes a really good point. Standing back, I've watched this group sort of mature, where there's a real sort of cutting edge focus. Yes, still there's ups and downs, but there's a cutting edge focus, and they start to discuss things at a level that tells me that they care, they want success, and they're going to do whatever they can to get it, and that's all we can ask them, you know.
Any final questions?
Do you think that there's anything we could have done differently during this match that would have made any difference?
Well, I think we should have, if there's an area that we need to look at, is if you look back, they capitalized on our errors, other than, I'd have to go back and look at which one it was. From a creation point of view, you know, they did not, you know, sort of out-create us. What they did do is they out-chanced us based on our mistakes, you know, and they were devastating in transition, and they had incredible second run speed, They were running into channels. We knew that was going to happen. We had the difficulty in the beginning dealing with it, but as you saw the game progress, as Luke said, we started to understand what we needed to do, and we started to look much more organized. But we were still in a position that when we made mistakes, they capitalized and they were clinical on that. And so, yeah, we could have reduced mistakes, and we could have understood a little bit better, but that's part of the evolution and the learning process. But there's certainly nothing to be said about the character and the want to win. And we as a staff are very proud of these guys.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Thanks.
Look forward to seeing you in
Thanks.
September.
Okay.
Folks, enjoy the rest of your night.
Take care.